Unit 3, Formative 1. This is Video 1, Verbal Inequalities. Okay, so remember inequalities, or we have greater than and less than, okay, and then we have greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, okay. So if you remember, these, the ones with the or equal to, are going to be closed circles. So we're going to draw a circle, and we're going to have to shade in the circle. So these are what we call closed. All right, the ones without the or equal to is what we call open. Okay, and it's just a circle that is not colored in. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write the following inequality as a verbal expression. So it just means we're going to write it in words. And normally whenever we read inequalities, we always read the variable first. So this is x, and then I'm going to work this way. So this is the greater than sign if I'm looking at the x. So it's x is greater than -5. So then I would just write x is greater than -5. Okay. Now you can't put -5 as less than x, but we usually, especially when we start graphing, it's going to be easier if you always go the variable first. So the next one, okay, again, we're going to start with the y, start with our variable. Okay, so it's going to be y is less than or equal to 4. Okay, all right, now we're going to go the opposite. We're going to write and graph the inequality for each verbal expression. So we're just going to write exactly like it says. So 16 is less than or equal to p. Okay. Now when we do our number lines, okay, I just want 3 numbers. Okay, we're going to start with 0, and then we're going to do the answer. The answer is 16, and then I'm going to do the opposite of 16, which is -16. Okay, so don't worry about doing 1, 2, 3 or anything in order. Just go ahead and keep it the answer and then the opposite. If the answer is 0, then go ahead and put some different numbers. Okay, so since it's 16 here, I'm going to put a circle above 16, and it's or equal to, so I know it's going to be shaded in. Okay, so that's a closed circle. All right, now if we read it, it says, again, we're going to read it from the variable side first. So p is greater than or equal to 16. So again, p, this is the greater than side, is greater than or equal to 16. So the greater than or equal is going to be to the right. So greater than is always to the right, less than is to the left. So think less left. It's an easy one. All right, next one is 3 more than x is greater than 11. Okay, we're not going to do this one in a number line just because it's an equation or an inequality. So that would be our answer. All right, next one. Given the graph, write the inequality, and then we're going to write in what's called interval notation. So this is new. The interval notation is what's going to be new in this section, because you should have seen inequalities before, number lines and writing, but the interval notation would be new. All right, so let's go ahead and start. So again, we're always going to start with a variable and then the answer. So I have an x and a -3, that's where the circle is. All right, and then remember, less is left, greater than is to the right. So this is shaded to the right. So this is going to be x is greater than, and it is closed. Okay, so it's shaded in, so that's going to be equal to. So x is greater than or equal to -3. All right, interval notation. Interval notation, we always look at the graph. Okay, so there's a couple things you need to know about interval notation. We're going to use parentheses if it's an open circle, and then we're going to use brackets if it's closed. Okay, and then infinity for arrows. All right, so here we go on this one. So we just follow it. So we have the close is at -3 and it's closed. So I'm going to have a bracket, okay, and then -3. So that tells me where the graphs start. Okay, just like the left side of this, okay, is going to match the left side of the graph. Okay, so the first thing, if we go left to right, the first thing we hit is -3, so that's going to be here. Right? Then we have a comma, and then we're asking ourselves, where is the graph going? The graph just keeps going forever and ever and ever. Okay, and when it goes forever, we call that infinity. Okay? And infinity always has a parentheses. Okay? So infinity is always parentheses. This is interval notation. All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, so again, we're going to follow it. Okay, the first thing I hit is the arrow, and that is pointing in negative infinity direction. So I'm going to have negative infinity, and again, infinity always has a parentheses. Okay, comma, and this goes and it stops at 4. So I'm going to put comma 4. All right, it's an open circle. Okay, it's open, it's not closed. So open circle means I'm going to do another parentheses. Okay, and that's interval notation. All right, last one. Define a variable and write an inequality to model the following situation. A child must be at most 10 years old to get a Happy Meal. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have my x, and I'm going to have a 10. Okay, now x is going to represent age or years, whichever one, but whichever one you want is fine. Okay. So a child must be at most 10. So 10 is the biggest number a child can be. So when we're writing inequalities, okay, remember that this one, this side, shows the small side, and this greater than side shows the large side. So 10 is going to be the biggest number. And they can also be 10, so I'm going to put an equal. Okay? So it'd be x is less than or equal to 10. So you must be less than or equal to 10 years old to have a Happy Meal.